Hello, 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 and welcome to the library and Friday night stories. Ghost stories, that is. How can I leave out the ghosts? Well, let's jump right into this and let's get it started with our intro and then on to a very unique and complex story that I think you'll appreciate it. Here we go. All right. Let's get the party started. Thank you all so much for joining me this evening on this rainy and unseasonably cold evening in Northwest Jersey. As you can see, my buddy and co host Lenny is in the spirit of tonight's story as we're going over to the boot for a ghost story that hails from Calabria, Italy. So it should be an interesting one. But before we get started, let me just say hello to everyone in the chat. I see we have a whole host of people here, which is excellent. It's so exciting to see all you guys. Nancy, Fancy, Nancy, Mike F, TT is here, Kelly is here, Gianni is present and accounted for. So is Vincent Capisci. Arlene Morlino is here. James Simpson in the house. Shannon is here. Arm Distance is here. Gerard is here. M. Pow is here. Who else is here? Cheech, my friend, is here. Carmela from Florida is checking in. What a crew tonight, man. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. Todd Father stopping in to say hi as he makes his rounds for the evening. Kelly is here. I think I said that, but I'll say it again. And I think I hit everyone for now. I think I did. I hope I did. But thank you all for joining. Let's see. Tony the Night Owl. How can I miss her? She is here. Thank you for joining. All right. Well, before I get started, though, we need to, as always, we need to light our candles. But I wanted to show you guys what I got in the mail today, a little present, a little surprise today, which I'm so excited about, from our friend TT, who sent me her Smurfs. Look at that. What a surprise. A nice bag of Smurfs. So they will be added to the collection. And thank you, TT, so much. Really appreciate it. But let's light our candles. our ceremonial story candles, of course, because we can't have a ghost story without candlelight. There we go, and I can shut this light off. And that's the right scenario, right atmosphere that we need. All right. So tonight's story, as billed, is the haunted town of Pentadillo. I'm sorry, let me pronounce it right. Pentedattilo. Pentedattilo, Calabria. Now, this is an entire mountain town that is deserted. And there's quite a story as to why it is deserted. So we're going to go through that tonight, and I think you're going to find it quite interesting. So let's start off by showing you exactly where our story takes place. It takes place, like I said, in Calabria. But what part? As you can see on the map here, the circled area is where the haunted town of Pentedattilo is located. It's at the very tip of the toe of the boot. If you look at the Italian booth, that's where it is. Hello, Susie Q. Thank you for joining. Good to see you. So that's what we're talking about. And over here is where Sicily is over here. Sicily starts over here, but it says the southernmost point of Italy. And this town has been deserted since 1783. Well, it started to desert in 1783. Let's put it that way. And I think it's been fully deserted, meaning it is a ghost town in both meanings, both ways, since the turn of the 20th century. So that's a long time to have not active people living in a town. But this story of Pentedattilo goes back to the year 1686. Now, stick with me with this story because it's a little complex, and the names are kind of similar. But the story starts with a family that was royalty there. They were the marquis of that area. Now, marquis is a French term for royalty, but the French had various holdings in Italy. And at this particular time in history, the French had this area of Italy. So there's a marquis there. And the marquis's name is Domenico Alberti, right? He's the marquis, and his family are considered royalty there. And they live in a castle. And this castle was located in the town of Pentedattilo. Now I'm going to show you. Now the castle doesn't exist anymore, but I'm going to show you where it was. And this picture of the town will give you a good idea of where it sits. Now, this is just a hard rock mountain here, and in front of it is where the town is, the remains of the town. And behind, you could probably see the church here. There's a steeple and a church. The castle was behind it, so the castle was right up against the mountain, and basically covered in three sides by mountain range. And in 1783, there was an earthquake that demolished some of the mountain, caused part of the mountain to collapse. Because prior to that earthquake, there were 5 towers of stone on the mountain that made it look like a hand. And that's where the name actually came from for the town, 5 fingers. Pentedattilo, 5-fingered. And it's also called the devil's hand. And there's multiple meanings for that, but basically it was the castle appeared to be sitting in the palm of a giant hand. So it's a very unique place from that angle. Unfortunately, that earthquake demolished some of the rock formation that caused the actual hand to, the fingers to be there surrounding the castle. And then the castle deteriorated as well over time. So there's really nothing much left of the actual castle, the Alberti Castle. So let's go back to me here for a second. Now, the Albertis, like I said, lived in that castle. Now, in a neighboring town, there was another family by the name of Abenovali, and they were barons, and they were lower level royalty as well in their area. Now, for years there was a dispute between the two families over property because the two towns abutted each other, and there was a dispute over where the property lines were. So there was bad blood between these two royal families. Now, for the longest time that happened until one time there was the Marquis himself, who was the Marquis himself was I'm sorry, not the Marquis himself, the Baron himself, the Baron from the neighboring town, which was Montebello Ionico. That was a neighboring town, and the Baron there, by the name of Bernardino, I guess Bernard in Italian, Bernardino Abenavoli. He is the Baron of the neighboring town. He falls in love with the daughter of the Marquis. And the daughter's name was Antonetta Alberti, the daughter of the Marquis. Now, they fell in love, and it's said that her father, the Marquis Domenico blessed this marriage and said he was okay with this for a couple of reasons. He knew his daughter was in love, or at least he thought his daughter was in love, and he wanted to, and he kind of thought if there was a marriage between the two families, it would kind of do away with the bad blood, and hopefully they could get back to normal relations with their neighbor. Now, the plans were going forward for the wedding between the Baron and the Marquis's daughter. Unfortunately, in the course of the time preparing for this, during the courtship, the Marquis suddenly dies of natural causes. He dies. And his son Lorenzo Alberti becomes the new Marquis. Now, Lorenzo had a different idea than his father. He really wasn't concerned about mending any fences between the two families. In fact, he harbored much of the grudge against the Abenovali family. He saw them as encroachers, as people that were trying to steal land and trying to take away what was his family. So he was not a fan. So what he does is, coincidentally, he was getting married to the daughter of the Viceroy of Naples, the Kingdom of Naples. Now, the Kingdom of Naples at that time was a very powerful country. It was a sub-country in Italy, and it was a very powerful one. And he arranged this marriage for himself and the daughter of the Viceroy of Naples because he thought it would strengthen his family's ties and power in Italy. If he can be aligned with Naples, the Kingdom of Naples, he'll have some real power and authority. So the wedding takes place, and the new Marquis, Lorenzo Alberti, goes to Naples for the wedding and takes with him his sister, Antonetta. And now, during the course of this wedding, however, the Viceroy's son falls in love with Antonetta. Now, she must have been a beautiful woman to have these royal people of power falling in love with her. Now, Lorenzo seizes this opportunity, and he arranges for a marriage between Antonetta and the viceroy's son. The viceroy's son was Don Cortez. So he arranges this because it's an advantageous to him and his family. If he's already married to the viceroy's daughter, if he can marry off his sister to the viceroy's son, that would be a certain lock with Naples, and they could only benefit from it. His family, the Marquis, could only benefit from it. So that happens, and because Lorenzo was the head of the family, even though Antonetta didn't really want to do this, she went along with it, followed her instructions, and what happens? She becomes the wife of Don Cortez. And they go back to celebrate in their hometown of Pentedattilo. Now, word gets around to, word gets back to the Baron, Bernardino Abbanovale, and he is not happy at all. He's angry and he's vindictive. He wants his revenge. His wife was stolen. His wife to be was stolen from him. His love was stolen from him by a family that he sees as his enemy. These families have been fighting for years. Now, what happens? What happens next is what causes all of the drama and problems and ghosts, because it's a pretty bloody type of thing that happens. Well, before I do that, I get to the good part of the story. Let me show you just a couple of more pictures real quick of what it looks like. This is what it presently looks like. There's another view of it, closer view of the ruins, I guess what you call them, because it's mostly uninhabited. The only thing that's there now is once a year they have a film festival there, and I believe there is a cafe. So, but no one is really living there and hasn't for so many years, for over 100 years. That was one. And then let me give you one more shot so you could see get the feel of the town. One more. Here we go. It's coming up. This is a close-up view of one of the buildings there in the town, still standing. So it's a desolate, overgrown type of town, but it still maintains its view of a town, its appearance of a town, because everything was made with stone. It doesn't really go away. It takes hundreds of years to go away. So it's still there in essence, and so are the ghosts. Now, that takes us to Easter Sunday, April 16th, 1868. And what happens on this day, that evening, is something that will set up what happens for the rest of eternity here, so to speak. So the Baron, the bitter Baron, the man that's angry and wants vengeance for having his wife to be stolen, gathers together a bunch of knights loyal to him, and with the help of a trader by the name of Giuseppe Scafari, who worked for the Albertis. He's a trader. He helps the Baron and his knights get into the castle without being noticed. So when that Easter Sunday evening comes around, and the Marquis are sitting there along with Don Cortez celebrating the dinner from Easter, etc., they are jumped on out of nowhere by the Baron and his men at arms. Now they immediately take out a musket and shoot the Marquis, Lorenzo Alberti. They shoot him straight in the stomach. He goes down, but he doesn't die. He draws his sword and is ready to fight. And then suddenly, two men grab him, hold him down, while the Baron personally takes out a dagger and stabs him over and over and over until he's a bloody mess. And as he's going down, and as the life is falling from him, the life is basically draining from his body, he swears a curse against the Baron and his family, that they will not get away with this, that he will have his revenge. So the Baron doesn't stop there, though, and he gets his revenge against the Marquis, but he also him and his men proceed to kill every person in the castle, with the exception of two people: Antonetta, who he loved, and her husband, Don Cortez. And they even kill a 9-year-old boy who was the younger brother of Antonetta. So it's such an evil scene and such an evil bloodbath that there's bound to have bad things come of something like this. So what happens next? Well, the Baron remains in the castle and holds Cortez as a hostage in order to get a ransom for him from Naples, an attempt to get ransom from the Kingdom of Naples, from the Viceroy of Naples. So what happens is, while this is going on, he also commandeers, I guess, or captures a priest and makes the priest marry Antonella and him together, even though she's already married to Don Cortez. Has that priest write up an annulment. The priest himself didn't have the ability to do that, but does it, of the Cortez and Antonetta marriage, and makes her marry him. So he's now married to her. Now, word gets back to Naples that the Viceroy's son is captive, and that he wants money for him. Well, the Viceroy is not very happy with this, and he sends an entire militia, his entire army, down into Calabria, invades Calabria, surrounds the castle, and in the course of this, many of the Baron's men are killed, but the Baron somehow is able to escape, and he takes Antonetta with him, Antonetta with him, and escapes to the island of Malta. And there he puts her in a convent. Now, the Kingdom of Naples ships are now coming to Malta. They're following him. They're going to get him. What he does is somehow he gets on a ship and escapes through the Mediterranean up north, through Germany, comes up to the North Atlantic, through Germany, and gets to Austria, and somehow gains the protection of someone in Austria, and joins the Austria militia, or Austria army, and is protected by them. So he escapes, and poor Antonetta is in a convent, and the entire Alberti family is wiped out. So Antonetta, the end result is Antonetta never marries again. She stays a nun, so destroyed by her loss of her family and the loss of what she went through, that she just remains a nun in the convent for the rest of her life. Now, how does this translate into the story? Well, because of the curse of Lorenzo Alberti, part of the curse says that he will bad things, evil things will happen to anyone in the area or anyone in the town, as long as the Abenovali family, as long as a single person of the Abenovali family lives, there will be bad things happening to this town, as well as anyone who interacts with that family. So over the years, remember, this happens in 1686, bad things begin to happen in this town. One of the things that happens is people tend to get ill for no reason. People tend to not have children, non-producing. People in the town, married couples in the town, are not having children. So as time goes on, people begin to believe the curse and tend to leave the town and evacuate. And over time, it becomes less and less populated. Now, in addition to that, there is, like I mentioned, there's the earthquake in 1783 that really devastates the town and knocks part of it down, and that really was that was the beginning of the end for the town as a whole because it became unsafe. Many people thought it was unsafe to even live there. But aside from that, it is said that the bloody hand, this is what they call it, the bloody hand of Lorenzo Alberti, will show up on the doors of every house, every living quarters in town, every Easter Sunday evening. And it's said that his ghost haunts the town and goes door to door looking for the Baron, looking for his revenge on the Baron. And each door that he knocks on, there is a bloody print in the morning. And people have sworn over the years that on the Easter Sunday, they lock their doors and cower in their beds and hear the knocks as the door on the door as it goes from house to house to house. And every morning there is a red hand mark on the door, which eventually fades away with the sunlight. But if you get up early in the morning, you'll see the red hand sitting on the door, red hand mark print sitting on the door. And it is said, like I said, as long as an Abernovali lives, the Baron will haunt this town on Easter Sunday, walking the streets with his lantern, knocking on each and every door, wailing and screaming. And many have said they've heard the screams of the Baron of the Marquis. I'm sorry, the Marquis will do this. The Baron is the bad guy here, so he's looking. The Marquis is the ghost of the Marquis, ghost of Lorenzo. Will 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 scream in the night, and they will hear the screams echoing through the canyons throughout the area to the point that people can't stand it. Some people say it's the wind, some people say it's people's imaginations, but other people just simply can't stand it and have had to leave. Could not stand it, the ear-piercing screams of the Marquis or the ghost of the Marquis. And now, to since the town has been deserted for the most part, there's no one there usually on Easter because the town comes alive for a festival each summer, for a film festival, and that's it. And then people leave. So it's only during the summer that you'll see some people there for the festival. So does the Marquis still haunt the town? Does Lorenzo's ghost still look for vengeance for the Abanovali family? Who knows? But to me, that is one of the scariest things I can imagine is sleeping in one of those houses and hearing on Easter night a knock on the door and a scream and screams going through the town. I don't blame anyone for not living in a town if that's actually happening every Easter Sunday evening. But it's interesting to me how for this long a town would remain empty. To me, that shows that there's something to this, that there's bad luck that went along with this town to the point that people felt they were no longer going to live here. Yeah, the earthquake has certainly had something to do with it, but that was in 1783. There hasn't been one since. And it's simply a haunted ghost town is what it is. So that's your story. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of Romeo and Juliet to some degree, I guess, a little bit. But so many ghosts come from love lost. And this is a classic tale of that. And a classic tale of the viciousness of families hating each other and the lengths they will go to harm each other. So, let me just say hello to anyone I missed. Don McHugh is here. Bobo is here. See if I missed anyone else. Thank you guys for joining. I really appreciate it. Let's see. I think I hit everybody. I don't think I missed it. I hope I did not miss anyone. If I do, you have my apologies. I think I saw someone else still come in that I missed. Who did I miss? Hold on here. I'll get there. I'm fine. I'll find them. Somebody I did not say hello to here. Paul C. I didn't say William from Brooklyn. I didn't say hello to you guys. Thank you guys for joining. All right. Yeah, so that's your story. That's your Italian. As you can see, Lenny is in the spirit with his Italian flag here. You know, he's ready to go visit. Pentedattilo. Pentedattilo. Five fingers, or the devil's hand. You know, is another thing they call it. But you could see why when you had such a bloodbath on Easter Sunday, killing a 9-year-old boy in the process as well, and a curse that comes out of it. Pretty creepy stuff. Thank you, TT. Appreciate it. He must be a northerner. What century was the ghost? The ghost was 1686. That's when he died, 1686. So what is that? The 15th century? Oh no, no, that's the 17th century. I'm sorry, I got it backwards. Yeah, 1686 is the 17th century. Mm-hmm. Lenny, you know, he's got to work on his eating habits a bit, I think. Suzanne, hello, welcome. Yes, murder is always, yes, from the devil. Absolutely. I agree completely. And nothing is vengeance is nothing like you know, you can't get vengeance on quite like you can get when it comes to Italians against each other. So it's and these are not even Sicilians. Well, these are Calabrese. They're close enough. So you can see why. You know, it doesn't surprise me. Such viciousness. Interestingly enough, this town, Pentedattilo, was originally, you know, we're going back thousands of years, was originally a Greek settlement on the continent. The Romans used it as an outpost. And there was also Norman invasion around this area as well later on. So you had a whole bunch of different cultures coming into this area at different times. But unfortunately there's no picture of the mountain when it actually had the five finger pillars, stone pillars, because it was before cameras. You know, they collapsed. It collapsed in the earthquake of 1783. But that would be fascinating to see what it actually looked like, a picture of it. And I could just imagine the castle sitting in the palm of the hands, and how creepy, on the palm of this giant hand, which how creepy that would be. Yes, Arlene, absolutely. That's what they say. Absolutely. I didn't hear bruh or any proactive words. Mr. Stiggs is here, or is it him? I don't know, Bobo. I don't know. I don't know. Stiggs is definitely here. He was here. Yeah, he's definitely here. And Italians invented lives. I'm sorry. Italians invented knives, but not for eating. Exactly, Don. You said it. Baywatcher, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. Gerard, thank you. Great story, Gerard. Thank you, Gerard. I appreciate that. Just a little preview. Next week, we'll be going back to Cape May, New Jersey for the second part of that. So stay tuned. That thumbnail is up if you want to click on it so you get a reminder. We'll go back to Cape May. There's plenty of ghosts that we haven't talked about from there. Then I'm going to take a break for Memorial Day weekend. And then we're going to go back to Italy because there is a story I want to tell about a haunted island, which Fascinating, all the Italian ghost stories I was looking at. And that's another expansion here. We're going outside the United States. I'm going to look into some Irish ghost stories, some Scottish ghost stories. We'll do the gamut here. We'll look for them everywhere. Whatever I find interesting, I will convey. Don, the ghost of Notre Dame, Notre Dame. No, I have not. I mean, I didn't look, but I will. Let me write that down. So I don't forget. And by the way, I get my ideas from anywhere and everywhere. And this one came from an Italian Tribune article, which I read and found interesting. A ghost town or a town of ghosts, and then I took it from there and did the additional research. So it's you look for and can find these ideas anywhere. So yes, right. Notify me, exactly. Hit notify me and hit like too. It's helpful if you hit like. It does. I've noticed that the shows with the many more likes trend better during the week, and like my shows will trend all week long. People will find them and come in and watch, and I think the more likes, the more likely YouTube is to share them out. Chris Strock, how are you doing, my friend? You know what's hot, Father? Hit the like, otherwise the Marquis ghost might pay you a visit. Lorenzo Alberti might pay you a visit. So hit like. You don't want to mess with him. You don't want to mess with him. This guy is willing to hang around forever. So I wouldn't mess with him. Lenny might break his own bones, Don. Right, buddy? Was Adam here? I think I saw Adam too. I'm sorry. I didn't say hello to Adam. I thought I saw Adam before. Adam, the king of the bad jokes. I'll give him credit. He doesn't stop. And here are a couple of the Smurfs that TT sent me. How you like that? Can't beat that. This one is for Teresa Murphy, mailman Smurf. But thank you, TT, for that. Really appreciate it. Big bucks. There's no big bucks on YouTube for me. Yeah, I don't know about that, Bobo. You might be right. I don't know. I think I've made a total of $28 since I've been monetized. So I don't know. Smurfs ended worse than The Sopranos. I don't know how they ended. That's a good question. I don't recall how they ended. Oh yeah, James, absolutely. London has tons of ghosts. Yeah, London definitely, without a question. Without question. What I'm drinking, Gianni, I'm drinking my usual, which is something called Fields of Gold. It's a bourbon cocktail. It's made with honey, oranges, squeezed oranges, lemon, And that's about it. And ice. Yeah. Bourbon, honey. Yeah, it's a tasty drink. I like it. It's really, really, really good. So Tommy Sticks said, "I make millions, Mike F." Well, I don't know where he's seeing that because I haven't seen it. Maybe he's making millions. The Knicks lost, Bobo. I don't know. I haven't watched. I don't really watch the NBA. I don't think I've watched it in many years. Hi, Spirit. I don't think I said hello to you, Spirit. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. 23 people hanging out and just shooting the breeze is always a good thing. Well, we got TT's show coming up next, so please check that out. Scotch and ice, no thank you, Don. Not a Scotch guy. Not a Scotch guy. I'll drink straight bourbon if you'd like, but not a Scotch guy. Stiggs made how much? 16 million last month? Wow, that's pretty good. No, I know, $16, he says. Basketball was invented in your city. I thought it was a Canadian invention, basketball, Johnny. I thought a Canadian invented it. Yeah, I don't know, Johnny. I don't know about that. I never got into scotches. I really never did. But yeah, I know some people like the blends and some people don't. So, it's I guess it depends on the taste, your individual taste. Suzanne, do you have a bourbon replacement? No, I don't. I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think what would taste like bourbon that's not bourbon, and it's a hard thing to come up with. I don't know. I mean, if you made it without bourbon, it would be orange. It would be crushed oranges, like mulled oranges, lemons, and honey. And what you do with the honey is you take the honey and then you get some warm water and you blend it. Not no, you don't blend it. You stir it until it becomes a liquid. So that's your basically your sweet base for it, and then you have fruit with it and ice and water. I don't know what you'd put in instead of bourbon though. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. So I never heard of non-alcoholic bourbon. I don't know if that even exists, but if if it did exist, I guess you would do that. You'd use the non-alcoholic bourbon. Maker's Mark is a bourbon. Baywatcher, sure. Sparkling juice, yeah, you could do that. Sure, sure. But well, not why not just drink Drambio? I don't know what that is. Drambio, Dram Drambio. I don't know what that is. Spirit says, "What is the only food that never expires?" Honey. Um, Gianni, no. There's an answer for you. I may do one once in a while. I'm not going to do them consistently. No, I'm not going to do them consistently. YouTube is not interested in it. They don't want it. They don't want it to happen, and they're going to give me a hard time with it. So I'm just not going to do it consistently. It's not worth my time, effort, or money. So, but But if something strikes me and I wanted, if some, a specific wine strikes me, I'll be, I surely will do it. Yeah. Yeah, Spirit, you're stealing TT's Tuesday night trivia questions. We don't want to do that. Yeah, Gianni, I hear you. Yeah, unfortunately, they control things, and there's neither rhyme nor reason behind it. It just isn't. So, what are you going to do? What you're going to do is not kill yourself over it, right, and not be bothered by it. And Spirit, I think she's kidding. I think TT's kidding. I don't know. Maybe she isn't. I think she was just kidding. That was one of hers. Maybe it was. I don't know. Those Strock Twinkies. Yeah, that's because you probably have a whole closet full of them. You never expire. Um, they weren't shutting them down, Johnny. What they would do is they would demonetize them, so you couldn't monetize them, and they wouldn't. The algorithm won't share them. You know, so that's fine. If I feel like doing it, I'll just do it for you guys that want to be there. I don't care. I don't really care from that angle. They're going to be that way, but I'm not going to do it consistently because of that, because it's not worth it. What's the difference between an elk's teeth compared to a deer? Huh. I do not know. I don't know. Does anybody else know the answer to that? The difference between the teeth of an elk and a deer. What's very sweet? I don't like sweet wine. Absolutely not. No, an alcohol like a spirit. I like a sweet spirit drink. Yeah, but not wine. Absolutely not. No. Snoop Dogg struck the channel. Yeah, it's not a free speech issue, Gianni, because they do own the platform. It's not it's just that what bothers me is the lack of logic and the lack of reasoning behind it. Because I don't promote drunkenness. I do the opposite, and I would certainly never promote it with children or underage people or anything like that. To me, wine is a refined tradition. It's a tradition, and it's not meant to be drunk. You're not meant to drink it to get drunk. At least I never have. It's an experience, and it's a part of a culture. So the fact that they would target that while they let people smoke pot online is offensive to me. So I will not play that game. I will not play with them. Top two molars on one elk are ivory. Ah, interesting. Wow, I never knew that. Very interesting. Yeah, Jenny, I agree. Elk tastes better. It does. Elk definitely tastes better than deer than venison. I agree. Okay, Bobo, I'll check it out. Definitely, I'll check it out. Yeah, elk is amazing, man. I do really enjoy that. I really enjoy elk. I went to a wild game dinner a couple months ago and had elk ribs. Ribs of an elk. They were delicious. And the thing is, though, you have to have a chef that knows exactly what he's doing. Otherwise, any of that meat will be too gamey. But if they know what they're doing, it's excellent stuff. Excellent stuff, especially in a stew. Elk in a stew is fantastic. Yeah, right, Spirit. You can sell that ivory, sure. Yep. Johnny, I didn't care for bear. I only had it once. I didn't really care for it. I thought it was way too gamey, but again, maybe it wasn't prepared right. So I'd be open to trying it again. Absolutely. Jock likes the Greek lamb. Yeah, well, the Greeks are famous for the lamb and how they prepare a lamb. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Right, Johnny. Yeah, bison, spirit bison is delicious, man. That's better than beef. Bison is better. It's better than beef. It's leaner and um, how else would I describe it? Leaner and more tender, I think. But more of an enjoyable experience eating them. Yeah. Yep, Tony. Yep. Well, it's almost 10 o'clock, which means it's almost time for TT show. Um, yes. Yep. Buffalo, bison. Yep. Kangaroo. I don't ask Don McHugh about kangaroo, how that tastes. Never had that. Gator. I like gator. Gator's pretty cool. Gator was good. We had what else did we have? We had like a duck. It was like a duck, a salad with duck in it. It was wonderful. Wonderful. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much, every one of you. Thank you for being a part of the show. I know, TT, I know you're scheduled for 10:30, but I'm done. My story's done. I'm glad you all attended. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I am so blessed that you've been here, and I want to make sure there's plenty of time for everybody to do what they got to do before they get into TT show. So I'm done with my did. Just remember, hit the like button if you can. I really appreciate it. And think about the ghost of Lorenzo Alberti on Easter. Who knows? You know, he might be knocking on the door. Who the hell knows what's going on there? Creepy, creepy stuff. But as always, I say, build the guild. Lenny says, thanks for joining and stay scared. And we will do our ceremonial blowing out of the candles. Have a blessed week, everybody, and I'll see you later.